All right, hey, it's Rob, and this is episode 2 of Every CD I Own. This is a video series that I can do basically for the rest of my life. So, I can't even imagine at this point how many CDs I have. It has got to be north of 10,000. Maybe it's 20,000. I don't know. We're about to find out, or, maybe not about to find out, but eventually we'll find out. I'm keeping a spreadsheet of all these. So this is CD number 3 and number 4, only because I have hidden the album after this one from Black Sabbath, Volume 4, inside the case for this one. I started to just toss the plastic cases at some point. I had so many of them. A lot of CD cases just have the names of the songs on the back, or it's just a repeat of what's already in the booklet. There was no extra information or pictures or anything I needed to save, so I'd like to say I recycled them, but I probably just tossed them in the trash. And I now have like a full dresser full of just CDs and booklets that are in binders, and I just realized at some point that I was going to need so much room to store CDs if I kept the plastic. So I just got rid of the boxes. I've got a giant toolbox with just random CD books in it. Like I'm ever going to look at that, but I've got it. Anyway, so if the package has some particular value or meaning to me, or, I really like the record or whatever, I kept it. And that's the case with this one, which is CD 3. This is Master of Reality with the embossed name of the title on there. It's embossed. Debossed is when it's like sunk into the thing. Like if you have a Mustang, they deboss it on the bumper. This is embossed because it's pushed out. And this is a record near and dear to my heart. This is really some of the first music I ever loved. At some point, and if you saw the last video, I bought The Clash's London Calling and decided that I was too cool for all this old music, which was, a generation before me. This came out in 1971. I would have been 5. But I learned to play guitar by playing Black Sabbath songs. I had a friend, he played bass, and we would play the songs together, try to work through them. We had a Black Sabbath songbook, and we learned how to read music and how to follow the chords and stuff. So very sentimental, very meaningful to me. I still love this record. It is fantastic stuff. Black Sabbath were a very interesting band. I think on this record, as many others, there were names of songs that were like, they named the intro. So if the song would have an intro that was a little different and then went into the main song, they would have the different names. There's a name called The Straightener and A Bit of Finger, which refers to the fact that Tony Iommi, the guitar player, lost the tips of his fingers in an industrial accident. Anyway, they would add these extra song titles because they would get more song royalties. So even though the record has like 7 or 8 songs, there would be like 13 titles on the record. I don't see them on here. Maybe by this point they were doing it. I know on some of the records they did it. Anyway, neither here nor there. So Black Sabbath, Master of Reality, the 3rd record, 1971. Just amazing songs. We always loved this one, Into the Void. Just a killer song. Children of the Grave is great. After Forever, of course, Sweet Leaf is on here. So much good stuff. They were an interesting band. They had things on their records that you just, didn't hear on other records, besides the fact that they basically invented heavy metal. But Tony Iommi would do 2 guitar solos, totally different, lay them on top of each other. It would just be this like crazy guitar orchestra going on. And they would just clip these parts together that didn't quite seem related, but because they sounded so good, you just went with it. So you like started on one song, it jumped to another song, and then back to the original song. That's kind of how these guys worked. But just a great record. They've been re-released many times. I don't think the fidelity has ever been great on any of these releases. Hopefully they will redo them at some point and do what they can to improve the sound. This was on a label called Castle Records. Who even knows where that is or what that was from, but that's what this release was. Castle Records, 1996, so 25 years, right? Yeah. After the initial release, and now it's been almost 30 years since that 25-year release. Anyway, Black Sabbath. Master of Reality. You get, in this one, some pictures. You get a little creepy poster here. And a little bit of information about the release. That's what's on there. CD number 4 we'll get into right now, which is also Black Sabbath, and it is the record that follows. It is called Volume 4. I'm going to spend my whole time in this video trying to fold this thing. All right, we've done it. All right, so after this one, another great release, similar looking font. This is Volume 4. This is one of those terrible releases where you just didn't get much at all in the booklet. There are a couple pictures and a little bit of information, but pretty cheap, pretty minimal. This was the Warner Brothers release right here, Black Sabbath Volume 4. Kind of in the shadow of Master of Reality. Almost sounded like some leftover songs from those sessions. Still some great stuff on there. Snowblind is on there, and a bunch of good songs. Oh, here's The Straightener. So there you go. There's the song called The Straightener. I don't know if you can see it right there. Between 1 and 2. And then, I don't know. Is it listed on here? Anyway, so, it doesn't list it on here, but on the LP you can see it. Anyway, why do I need to talk about that? I really don't. So, Black Sabbath Volume 4, still really cool, great sounding record. These are the records where Tony Iommi started to tune his guitar way down to C sharp, because of his fingers and his abilities after the tips of his fingers were cut off on his fretting hand. And they just sound great. Very cool record as well. We love both of these, probably equally, but now when I listen to them, you know, Master of Reality is clearly the one that stands out. But Volume 4, still a really good Black Sabbath album. After those albums, like, I don't know, kind of just seemed like the same stuff over and over again. I never really got into it. Some people like those later albums. Not a huge fan, but I do own them. And yeah, so there you go. That's the back. How many songs are on this record? Just 8. The good old days when you put 8 songs on there. Once CDs came out, the length of records started to increase, and you started to see 12, 14 songs on a record. And these were longer songs, 4 or 5 minute songs, but that's what you got on the Black Sabbath record in 1971. All right, again, one of my favorites, something that I loved growing up, and then I decided I'm too cool for this, and for many years I didn't listen to Black Sabbath. At some point, maybe even at this point, when this re-release came out, I finally bought it again. There were probably at least a decade or two when I just didn't listen to them much, but now I can go back and appreciate it. And really, like, all the stuff I loved when I was a kid, when I was 14 or whatever, I still love it. It's still great. Like, you know, hasn't gone out of style for me. I'll be 80 years old and I'll still be, if I can hold this up, you know, saying what a great record this is. Black Sabbath, Master of Reality, and then the follow-up, Volume 4. CDs 3 and 4 on my series, every CD that I own. What could be next? We'll find out soon. Thanks, bye.